Here at Five Star Painting, it is a national franchise, and our vision is to capture your dreams and enhance your lifestyle by adding color to your world. A little bit about me. Like Chad said, I'm from a small town in Gillette, Wyoming, about probably 4 hours from here. Once I graduated high school, I moved to Spearfish, South Dakota, where I got my bachelor's in business administration. Graduated college in 2017. At the time, I had a small lawn care business, basically just mowing lawns throughout the summers. I think I had that for 5 years. And then before I made the move to Colorado, I actually sold it to one of my good buddies, who's going to be my best man at my wedding, and he has grown it to $1 million business. So super cool that he was able to kind of transform something so small into kind of the main lawn care business in Gillette. So like I said, moved to Colorado in 2017, and throughout my time in Colorado, I've done a lot of different things. I have a hard time continuing the same job year after year. Once I get bored, it's time to move on and do something else. Once I guess the challenge is over, once I think I kind of mastered what I was doing. So started out in furniture sales at Furniture Row, and needless to say that was not my cup of tea, selling furniture, but it taught me a little bit about sales and made the transition to Dick's Sporting Goods a little bit easier. I started as the footwear lead there, and within a few months, I was a manager there. That was a good opportunity. My whole goal of that was to kind of learn how to run a sporting goods store, and I plan to go back to Wyoming and open up a sporting goods store. However, I met my fiance Logan, who's in the bottom picture there, and she was not a fan to go back to Wyoming. So my path in life kind of changed. So had to make some changes, and that was right after the big hailstorm in 2019, and had a few buddies selling roofs, and there was a decent amount of money if you put the work in. So that's when I just joined Restore Roofing. Did that for about a year and a half. And then in the winters, I would deliver for Amazon. And then later, I guess last year, I got engaged to Logan. And then kind of a lot of things happened this year. Later on in August, an opportunity presented itself to buy the Five Star Painting of Fort Collins and Boulder. So I own 2 territories, looking to potentially buy another one here at the end of the year. But basically I own from Wellington up to Broomfield. So big territory, but I saw kind of where the company was and the opportunity for growth, especially going through a pandemic. The paint was definitely increasing as a company. We saw a large amount of revenue increase last year due to people sitting at their home, realizing that wall they've been staring at for years needed to finally be repainted. So that was a huge opportunity for us. And since taking the business over, it's been great. So now I'll tell you a little bit about Five Star Painting. So it started in 2002, basically with 5 guys in college painting houses. They grew the business substantially and began to franchise it in 2004. With that being said, in 2010 is when the first franchise was sold in Northern Colorado. And there's 175 locations in the US and Canada combined. It's the second biggest painting company in the world. And I will say there is an advanced training program to be a part owner in Five Star. It was about 3 weeks of training, one down at the corporate office, which because of circumstances had to be virtual when I went through it. But we had to go through classes as far as the sales process, learning about paints, learning about objections, different issues with paint. So coming from my field, I didn't know a lot about it. So at the beginning, it was very stressful, but I felt I feel now that I know a decent amount, but there's always things to learn and challenges each day. So with 5 Star, they're constantly evolving and growing. Like I said, last year was a huge year for us, and the consistent growth is kind of what got me onto the company. Each year it's substantially increasing, and I think that's because of the programs they're putting in place and really what we have to offer at 5 Star. So 5 Star was acquired by Neighborly in 2015. Neighborly is a collection of professional home service brands with service to repair, maintain, and enhance your entire home. So I'm sure you've seen some of these Neighborly companies, similar to maybe Molly Maid or Mosquito Joe, but that whole umbrella of companies is all owned by Neighborly. And basically, somewhat of the concept that they're trying to follow with that is if we paint your house and you need someone to take care of your yard, you're going to think of the ground guys, or you're going to already have that kind of company brand logo in your mind. So as far as a group, I would say it's a pretty well-rounded and pretty well-known companies. I know the property management in Fort Collins is probably one of the larger ones. So cool to be partners with them. So some of the things at 5 Star that we offer that I think is a huge selling point and important things that you guys should know is we offer free estimates. So whether it's one estimate a day or 10, it's going to be free. Exact measurement and pricing. Basically, what that means is when I come out to your home, we're going to measure it with a wheel or a laser to make sure that we're only charging you for the amount of paint that's going to be needed for the job. A lot of times you see somebody show up to the house and just look around it and shoot you a price. So you're not really knowing if you're going to be paying for more materials than it's actually worth. So and that basically, by getting those measurements, we're able to get you an exact price of what it's going to cost with that amount of paint. Moving on, the scheduling is super easy to do. If you go right onto our website, there's a link at the top where you enter your zip code, and that gets you to the Fort Collins website, which then gets you to that scheduling page. Another thing is a project manager on every job. So when we start a job, you'll be assigned a project manager, and he's basically there every single day to make sure expectations are being met and agreements that you guys have agreed to. So just making sure the quality control and everything as far as what you expected and maybe your dreams of the house are being met. And then we also have a great office team that's available pretty much all hours of the day. So 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can reach us whether you have any questions or if you need to schedule that next appointment. We're there to take care of you. And then being a color expertise, we have professional color consultants that can help you pick the right colors for your project. I know me personally as a guy, especially when it's a woman, she doesn't like my maybe examples of what I think would look good in her house. And then I just hired on a female estimator, and she'll say the exact same thing, and the person is super ecstatic and agrees with them because maybe they're female. So it's always a great option that I like to recommend people because for some reason I'm not trustworthy when it comes to the color picking out. And then the national partnership is a huge thing by us being a franchise. So we're able to get massive savings with companies like Bear and Sherwin-Williams, and we're able to pass those savings on to you. So we're not going to charge you the full retail price. We want to make sure that if we're going to deal, we're able to pass that on to you. So those are just kind of two of the main partnerships, but we also have partnerships with Benjamin Moore and Guy Rees and stuff of that nature. So the real question, why why would you choose 5-star painting? So to me, it's simple. We're very customer focused, or I like to say customer obsession. So we want to make sure that we're there whenever you need us. And it starts with showing up on time for an estimate. I know that sounds super basic and something I'm sure all of you guys do. But what I found out is a lot of times I go to houses and they've maybe called, 3 or 4 contractors, and only 2 of them have got back, and maybe only 1 of them have showed up for an appointment. So just starting by the basic steps and proceeding on, I think is huge. So with that, we do on-site estimating. So basically what that means is I walk the whole house or the inside of the house and get all the measurements that I need. And then I go out to the car and put an estimate together. And then I can go over that with the person. So it makes it a lot easier for me to remember everything that was going on and be able to explain kind of those details to the customer. Whereas if I send it over a week later, they might, have more questions that I could have been able to answer in person. So another one is respecting their home. When we go into, excuse me, every house, we wear what's called booties on our feet to make sure that mud's not being tracked throughout your house or water. So whether a customer says, go ahead and leave those off, we always put those on, just kind of a clean feel and making sure that we're respecting your place. Experience is another huge one. So just my 2 territories of Fort Collins and Boulder, we have hundreds of satisfied customers going from Google, Facebook, to Angie's List, etc. So that's huge, knowing that people have trusted us to do their project, and you should too. Another one is longevity of crews. So this is one I like to touch on. And with that being said, the 2 guys on the right you see, these guys have been with us the longest. And I don't take obviously full credit for this because I haven't been around for 5 years. But these 2 guys have been with 5-star for 5 years. So that just goes to show you what who we are as a company and that we treat our employees right. And we also have 3 other main crews that work for us that have been with us for 2 to 4 years. So that's the hardest that's the hardest part of the job, is finding people to surround yourself with and keep that quality up. So without these guys, we wouldn't be where we're at. And that goes on to the quality of work. So with those national partnerships is a huge part of this, but we want to make sure that we're putting the highest quality of materials on your house. So as everybody knows, Colorado in the summer is very sunny, and the sun takes a toll on houses. So we want to make sure that we put the highest quality of materials on there so it lasts the longest for you. So it could be the difference of painting your house every 5 years to every 15 years. But I know as an owner, I would rather paint it every 15, knowing that you have the best quality product on your house. And that goes down to the littlest things, to caulking. So that's a step that is missed a lot of times, where a company might buy the cheapest grade caulk you can buy. And just like anything, the cheaper you buy, the lower quality it is. So making sure that we buy quality materials across the board is super important, which trickles down to attention of detail. I wish I could zoom this in, but I don't know if we can. But the guy on the top ladder, super hard to see, but every nail hole on that house is being caulked. So that's just kind of showing the attention to detail we go. So you can see it on the gray. It's super hard to see on the yellow, but every nail hole on a house is being caulked. And basically what that does is prevent water or moisture to get into that hole. And it just looks a lot better when it's painted. You don't get an eyesore where your eyes are drawn, kind of that hole. And then the guy on the bottom here, it looks like something was spilt everywhere, but it was actually a stucco repair. So it's kind of like a water-based solvent that's used on there. So um, I always tell people the paint is the second most important, but the most important is the prep work. So making sure all areas are caulked, sanded, and primed are super key to a good looking house. So services that we offer at Five Star Painting is your typical interior and exterior painting. And that goes to a house that was built in 1900s to a brand new house. We do it all. And then another thing that we've really increased, I would say over the last 6 months, is cabinet painting and refinishing. So you guys all know, and I would say 80% of the houses we do, they want white cabinets or white kitchen cabinets. So we've done a lot of jobs this winter of that, pretty much changing those oak cabinets to white kitchen cabinets. And it's pretty cool to see the transformations on those. We also do decks and fences. Before every job, we have to pressure wash. We do wallpaper removal, and we use eco-friendly paint options. And now there even is no VOC paints. So those are just kind of the main services that we offer. And obviously, this is all weather dependent. So right now, we're still not able to paint exterior. It looks like at the end of the week we will be able to, but that's another kind of precaution and thing that we want to make sure that we do it at the right time so that you don't have those consequences later. So how can you guys help as chamber members? It's pretty simple. I'm not asking a lot, but really is just getting the Five Star name out there. A lot of times I talk to people and they haven't heard of Five Star Painting. And my goal is to join certain networking groups like this and to get our name out there. Our goal is to be a household name. So when someone needs a painter, they think of Five Star Painting. So it all starts with you guys giving us an opportunity to where we can build your trust and show you our expertise on what we do and can hopefully transform your house. So here's some before and afters that we've done throughout the last 6 months. And this one is in Fort Collins. It was a faded green, and they went to a whole new color of the blue. And I think the blue makes everything pop a lot better, especially seeing it next to the green. And that house also had some hail damage, so we actually went through the insurance policy with them, and most of their paint was covered, so that was a huge plus there. The next one, not a lot of change here, but just kind of a different color, and just kind of made everything look fresh. And since then, we've done a few other houses in that neighborhood. So the next one is actually Mr. Handyman's house. He called us out to paint his house after his roof was replaced due to hail damage. And all those boards you see had to be primed before they were painted. Basically, that just gave the paint something to stick to. So here's a kitchen cabinet that we just finished up. Picture on the left's a little bit blurry, but just like I was explaining, going from oak to the white seems like that's what everybody wants to do now. So we are happy to help you get there. Here was a big project we did in Windsor. Basically seeing the difference of what a lighter color can do to your space. So before they had kind of a tannish color, tannish brown, and by bringing the white into there, it opened up their space a lot more and brought more natural light in there. So this was just kind of a showcase of pictures that we put together. The next one is a commercial space we did at a lab testing facility. Basically just showing some detail of work here, going over the lines on the bottom, and then the front entry, just adding some color to that. And then the next collage of pictures here is actually at my house, but before it was painted like a green. We liked to bring the gray in to kind of freshen everything up. So just another example of before and afters there. The last one here is a picture of barn doors that we did for a customer that had just moved here. And staining is obviously a lot more tedious and a little bit more time consuming, but the end result was beautiful. And we were happy that these customers trusted us to do their work. And then we also do have I guess a small following on social media, but I would like to increase that in efforts to get our name out there. So when you guys have a chance, if you could follow us on Facebook, it's 5-Star Painting of Fort Collins. So we're trying to get better about posting photos and getting more information out there to our customers to be able to kind of spotlight what we can do and what services we can offer the community. Here, the last slide here, I've just dropped my contact information. If anyone has any questions or like a free estimate or just wants to know more about me, I would be happy to have that conversation with you and potentially earn your business when you guys are looking to change the appearance of your house. So that was kind of a quick rundown, but does anyone have any questions? I'm sure there's probably a lot out there I didn't answer.
We do have some questions. And then actually, before I get those pulled up, Michael, do me a favor, put your cell phone number in the chat. That way everybody's got it, and then they can reach out to you if they're looking for a quote or an estimate, or they just want to take you out to coffee or something. But let me do this. Let me pull up this chat real fast. So I do know we do have some questions. Let me pull up. So you answered a few of these in your presentation, but I'm going to re-ask them just so we can make sure everybody heard. First question from Todd is, do you stain or paint fences, and do you help owners navigate HOA regulations?
Yeah, great question, Todd. We do stain and paint fences. As far as the process of that goes, is everything has to be power washed to where that surface is clean. And then if we're going to paint it, it has to be primed so that bare wood is sealed, and then painted after that. Obviously, if it's just going to be stained, just power wash and stain. Pretty simple, straightforward process on that. We typically don't sand because we don't want to take any of that natural wood grain out of there. And then as far as the HOA regulations, everybody knows, it seems like every neighborhood has HOA regulations, and some take between 30 and 60 days. So you got to get on those quick, but we're familiar with a lot of them. I help customers a lot navigate through that process. So a lot of times it's just getting the contact information, and then I can handle it from there. But sometimes just Google, it's hard to find who I need to contact as far as that goes. But I'm more than willing to at least get the color proposal made for the HOA.
Awesome, thank you. So from Sylvia, we have, do you provide basic carpentry work, repairs before painting?
Yeah, another really good question. So as far as the repairs go, if it's just a few boards, we can definitely take care of that, or some drywall blemishes, we do that. But as far as extensive projects, I'd rather have a professional in there. I always tell people our guys are really good at painting, and that's what they're good at. So we want to keep them with what they're good at and bring in a handyman for those bigger projects to where your job's the best it can be. So hope that answers that question.
Awesome. So Lori Scott, she has a question. She says, she's always heard that prep is the most important step. What is your approach to doing proper prep work?
Right. So on the exterior of a house, the day before, we come and power wash everything, basically to clean that surface, get all the cobwebs, bugs out of there, maybe some bird nests that have been living in there that you didn't even know about. And then it's really kind of assessing the work that needs to be done. So we caulk all vertical surfaces, is how I like to say it. The only horizontals typically that we caulk is around windows anytime you have siding, you don't want to caulk actually underneath that. You want that wood to be able to breathe. So caulk anywhere where existing caulk has failed. And that's a big one that goes to inspections when you're trying to sell your house, and the potential moisture getting in there. And then going as far as scraping or sanding, any areas where paint has begun peeling or flaking. And then once we get down to that bare wood, it has to be primed. So um, I always like to warn people that first day we're there, a lot of their house is going to be covered in white, whether that be primer or caulk. We have a pretty extensive process that we go through on that. Like I pointed out before, we also caulk every nail hole that's on the outside of the house just to make for a smoother finish. And then the simple stuff like making sure areas where you don't want paint are protected. So whether that be a driveway, a pergola, a fence, or maybe a backyard patio, making sure we have plastic there as well as windows to make sure that no paint gets on those surfaces. So, and then as far as inside goes, that's a whole nother ball game. It really depends on the project because there's so many different things we could do inside. But anytime we spray, which 90% of the time we do on ceilings, everything has to be covered in the house. So masking from top to bottom to make sure no overspray gets on the carpet, the sofa, kitchen cabinets, I mean, anything of that nature. So inside work definitely takes a lot longer to prep because there's a lot more plastic. And then just making sure we caulk kind of all the nail holes where you previously had picture frames or stuff like that. So inside definitely is a little bit more kind of tedious.
Awesome, thank you. Lorray is asking, does 5-star have a guarantee?
Awesome. Yeah, that was probably one thing I should have included in the presentation, but we do have a 2-year warranty on all vertical services. So the reason we don't cover horizontal is we can't control if you remove the snow from your deck or patio in the winter. So obviously the longer moisture sits on there, the higher the chance it can be to penetrate that wood. But with that 2-year, it covers any peeling or flaking, which are basically all issues due to lack of prep work. So if those areas aren't prepped properly, you will see those issues. There's other companies out there that might offer a more of a warranty, or you got to pay more to get 5 years. My biggest thing to that is if you see any sort of prep work, it's going to happen within the first 6 months. And that can be to changes of seasons going from really cold to really hot, or a rainstorm or a snow. When that moisture really has time to penetrate that wood is when you're going to be seeing those issues. So after the 6 months, it's very rare that anything of warranty issues were to pop up. So
Thank you. Francis is asking, do you offer clients financing?
So we do have a financing program set in place. We use Synchrony from that. And basically what we can do there is we have a kind of like a trial run where we can submit some of your information and it can shoot us back what it would kind of guess your financing would be, to kind of get a rough run before you actually have to hit your credit on that. Like I said, we use Synchrony, and depending on which program you're looking for as far as timeline, they have some pretty good options that are low to 0% interest on that.
Question from Joe is, do you use any bacteria or virus resistant paint for medical offices, schools, etc.?
Yeah, great question. That's a really good one. Sherwin-Williams just came out with the paint. It's part of their super paint line, and it has, I wish I could remember, it's a self-sanitizing paint. Sounds super weird, but once you apply it, it kills 99% of bacteria in that space. So that's a new one that they came out with after COVID that we have tried in a few commercial offices. It's obviously really hard to know if it's working or not, but we've got really good feedback from that.
Awesome, thank you. Question from Nate is, can you give us a little detail on Google reviews versus Neighborly. Is it good to do reviews in both, or kind of what's your insight on that?
I would prefer probably just the Google, only because that gets a lot more customer views, a lot more traffic is driven through that. So if you share your experience through that, more people are going to see it. And as Nick would know, part of Google's algorithm is reviews. So the more we can generate on there on a regular basis, the better our search flow is on that organically. So.
Awesome, thank you. Another one from Mate. So follow up is, can you talk about window frames or window frames that need to be redone as, you know, maybe they're rotten out or the actual frame needs to be replaced?
Yeah, so on that, typically, we recommend that wood is replaced. We've actually partnered with Pride Roofing on a few of these to get some of those boards replaced before they get painted. The reason we want to get them replaced is, one, obviously some moisture doesn't get into your house, and for two, the warranty isn't covered once you have those pre-existing issues of water damage. So depending on the status of those, some of them you're able to prime them and kind of prolong the life of them. Other ones are so swelled that it's better just to get those replaced.
Awesome, thank you. Couple of shout outs. People are saying the pictures look beautiful. The work looks beautiful, looks great. Looks like Becky with Iomi has already followed you. So everybody do what Becky just did and give him a follow. Any other questions or any other commentary, anything like that you guys want to throw in the chat? Oh, Joe just followed you too. So look at this. You're gonna grow that follower base.
Sweet, appreciate that, guys. Every little bit helps. So
perfect. All right, guys. Well, I'm not seeing anything else, so let's go ahead and hop out of here. Can you guys see gallery view? Can everybody see all the little squares with the pictures? Nope. Okay. Do I still have someone spotlighted? Can you guys?
You just need to change the view. I have it.
You have the view. Okay, gotcha. So everybody go to gallery view. All right. I'm seeing
each individual has to control their gallery view.
Yeah. So go to gallery view, everybody. I'm seeing some thumbs up and some people are looking at me like I'm crazy. So, all right, perfect.
You are crazy.
Yes. So awesome, guys. So I'm not seeing any other questions for well, I actually got one more question from Romy. I was thinking the same thing. Is we don't hear a lot of Wyoming boys be Kansas City fans. So how did that happen?
Oh, that's an easy one, but I'm glad you brought it up. Basically, in Wyoming, everyone likes the Broncos, and most of you guys probably don't know me well enough, but I don't like to do what everyone else does. So I'm like, I can't be a Broncos fan. It's like, what is like their biggest rivalry, and what can I get the most reaction from? So it was a Chiefs fan. So that's been kind of crazy living here too. But I won't put it on my car because I don't want that to be damaged, or my house because I don't want it to be egged. But if they want to, hit me or whatever, that's fine. But I'll still wear the hats and sweatshirts.
Awesome. How funny. Well, great. Thank you so much, Michael. Great presentation today. Excited to have you part of Red Carpet. The last thing we got to do, guys, is put up those Red Carpet spirit fingers and let's give Michael a big warm thank you for presenting. So we have about a minute left, guys. We're going to be doing this again on Thursday. We're going to be learning about child safe. So if Carol's on the call, go ahead and give us a wave. You will receive that information on Wednesday afternoon. If anybody has questions for me, please reach out. And then before you hop off or before I close this down, please make sure you jot down Michael's contact information in case you want to do a follow-up with him from his presentation. All righty, guys. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and close it out. Everybody enjoy their day. And thanks again for coming out to Red Carpet.